Most of us are carrying around a heavy set of armor, though we'd never admit it. We use irony, intellectual distance, and what you might call the load-bearing shrug, that casual who cares or so what, as a kind of emotional novocaine. It's our way of numbing the vulnerability of just being alive in a chaotic world. When something actually hurts, when we face a real loss, our reflex is to pull out the paperwork. We treat grief like an invoice. We try to balance the books, looking for a logical explanation or a neat life lesson to make the math work out. We mistake the natural boundaries of our lives for something that needs our protection. We build a wall. We take everything messy and porous about our existence and force it into rigid, impenetrable cognitive defenses, hoping we can block out the pain before it touches us. But those sophisticated defenses don't actually protect us from the world. They just trap us inside our own pain. To see how this plays out, we have to step away from theory and look at a very specific patch of dirt. It's 6:08 a.m. on a Monday morning in a quiet backyard garden. The boundary has been breached. Predators visited a chicken coop during the night, taking 4 hens and leaving nothing behind but a scatter of down in the dark mulch. The void left in that empty enclosure carries a distinct, heavy weight. It's a loud absence. Yet all around that ringing silence, the garden doesn't pause to offer condolences. The squash keeps its slow appointments. The green simply continues, completely indifferent to what just happened. Faced with that sudden void, our immediate human reflex is to demand that reality be different. We want to petition the morning, but the sheer indifference of the garden forces us to stand there and face the vacuum, without our usual intellectual armor. That silence in the yard acts as a sensor. It reveals that the meaning of those birds didn't live inside them like a hidden battery. It lived in the interaction between the hens, the garden, and the keeper. This is relational emergence, the idea that reality exists between things, sustained by active tension. Instead of a defensive wall, this suggests a seam, a porous, generative boundary where the inside and outside agree to touch. The hens never built walls. They existed in pure absorption, scratching the dirt, feeling the sun, carrying zero internal argument against reality. When the predator breached the enclosure, the 2 surviving hens didn't panic or overanalyze the trauma. They practiced Wu Wei, simply moving higher into the dark branches of a nearby spruce tree. Yielding is a functional alignment with a new, dangerous reality. It is the precise movement the moment demands, unburdened by the extra effort of wishing the world were different. The survivors found safety in the altitude of the spruce. They didn't calculate the ethics. They relied on the oldest instinct. High is safe, ground is not. But altitude is only safety from a ground predator. 4 days later, a shadow moved across the branches, and the remaining 2 survivors were taken. The universe does not care about our philosophical metaphors. A predator is not a polite lesson in natural harmony, and nature owes us no neat, comforting conclusions. True yielding means accepting that the green just goes on, generously and helplessly, with its teeth. It breaks the comforting illusion that we can intellectually negotiate our way out of chaos. And here we hit a rather uncomfortable contradiction. Writing a beautifully structured video essay about yielding to grief is still a way of organizing it. It's just another, more elegant way of fighting reality and hiding behind a wall. The author David Foster Wallace understood this trap intimately. He was a master of what we might call the library, a mind brilliant enough to map out every human defense mechanism, yet who still felt hopelessly trapped by them. Wallace realized that pure, endless cleverness eventually becomes a form of despair. If your intelligence prevents you from experiencing the ordinary, unsexy, and sometimes unbearable reality of being alive, it isn't saving you. To escape that recursive loop of overanalysis, you have to leave the library and return to the kitchen. You have to perform plain physical acts, like standing at the sink and washing the dishes, without turning the soap and water into a profound metaphor. True presence requires us to stop using our intellect to endlessly explain our pain. We have to sit quietly with the unmediated reality of what remains. Which brings us back to the empty coop. We have to face that loud absence without assigning it a job, measuring it with a metric, or wringing some deeper philosophical meaning out of it. Loss is the structural cost of choosing to love things housed in feathers and minutes. By tending to a living thing, we've already countersigned the clause of impermanence. We have to drop the cognitive armor. We find our way back to the world when we stop mistaking the porous, messy seams of our lives for solid walls that must be endlessly defended. We reach a state of quiet participation when we put down the notebook. By yielding to the actual flow of reality, we let the green just go on.